Have you ever trusted someone completely only to realize they weren't who you thought? This is my story, a story about friendship, betrayal, and learning the hard way who your real friends are. I never thought the person I trusted the most would be the one to destroy everything I had. But the day I walked into my apartment and saw what he did, I realized I didn't really know him at all. My name is Alex. I'm 29. And until last year, I believed I had the best friend in the world. His name was Mark, the kind of guy who could make friends with anyone. Loud, funny, confident. We grew up together, went to the same school, even started our first jobs at the same time. People used to call us brothers. And for years, I believed it. But looking back now, there were signs. I just didn't want to see them. The days after I started noticing subtle changes in Mark felt heavier than anything I had expected. It wasn't a single incident, not a loud argument or a clear betrayal. It was in the way he laughed a little too long at his own jokes, the way his eyes lingered on Emily when I wasn't looking, the tiny tension beneath his constant cheerfulness. I tried to convince myself it was nothing. Maybe it's stress, I whispered to the empty apartment one night. But the knot in my stomach refused to untangle. Every time I shared a small victory at work, every time I told a story about my day, I felt his eyes measuring, judging, calculating. Even mundane moments became colored with unease. The way he commented casually on Emily's posts, the inside jokes she didn't share with me, the way he always seemed to accidentally appear wherever we were together, it all felt deliberate. And yet I wanted to trust him. After all, he was my best friend, my brother, someone I had grown up with, shared secrets with, someone I thought I knew. I started keeping a mental ledger of his actions, noting the inconsistencies, the small manipulations I could barely prove. There were nights I lay awake, replaying moments in my mind, trying to decipher his intentions. Was it jealousy? Envy? Or something darker I wasn't ready to admit? And Emily, she was the center of it all. I wanted to warn her, to shield her from whatever I sensed in Mark. But how could I? I had nothing tangible, just a gut feeling and the creeping dread that our lives were quietly being reshaped by his subtle influence. I didn't realize it then, but the first seeds of betrayal were already planted. And soon they would grow into a storm I could no longer avoid. Everything started when I began dating Emily. She was warm, kind, genuinely caring. For the first time in a long time, I felt like life was finally going in the right direction. But Mark didn't like that. He acted supportive in front of me. "Bro, she's great for you. I'm happy you found someone." But when Emily wasn't around, he'd drop comments like, "Don't get too comfortable, man. She's cute, but are you sure she's really into you?" "You're too serious too fast." I brushed it off. "That's just Mark." But it wasn't a joke, because he started texting her behind my back. At first it was harmless. Memes, jokes, funny videos. Then he began complimenting her. Then he started venting about me to her. And eventually, he crossed a line I didn't know about until much later. The days blurred as Mark's subtle manipulations grew bolder. Emily seemed slightly different each time I saw her. Distracted, hesitant, a little quieter. I convinced myself it was stress, work, life, anything but him. But every small message from Mark felt like a quiet explosion. A compliment here, a shared joke there, a seemingly innocent observation, each one twisting perceptions without her realizing it. He had a way of making me doubt myself, of making her question my intentions without ever directly confronting us. One evening, I caught a glimpse of a conversation on Emily's phone, a message chain I wasn't supposed to see. It seemed harmless at first. But the more I read, the more I realized he had carefully edited my words, taken small snippets of truth, and turned them into lies. The anger, the betrayal, and the fear collided inside me. I felt trapped, powerless, and deeply violated. I began to observe our interactions closely. I noticed the pauses before she replied to me, the way she hesitated when I asked about her day. It wasn't her fault. She was caught in a web spun by someone she trusted as much as I had. And Mark, he was always there, just behind the scenes, a shadow influencing everything. Nights became restless. I paced the apartment, staring at my phone, trying to anticipate his next move. I couldn't confront him yet. I didn't have proof. Every second felt like walking a tightrope over a void, one misstep away from disaster. And yet, despite the fear, a determination grew inside me. I would protect Emily. I would uncover the truth. No matter how subtle his manipulation, no matter how cleverly he wove his lies, I was not going to let him destroy what we had. The storm was coming, and I had to prepare for it. The day everything fell apart was a Wednesday. I came home early from work, exhausted, stressed, just wanting to lie down. When I opened my apartment door, Emily and Mark were sitting on the couch, not doing anything. But the energy in the room was wrong. They both jumped up like kids caught doing something they shouldn't. Emily said, "Alex, we need to talk." And Mark didn't even look at me. My heart was pounding. I felt like the air got sucked out of the room. Emily finally said it. "Mark told me you've been lying to me. He said you were cheating. He said you only stayed with me out of guilt." I froze. "He what?" I looked at Mark, my best friend, the guy I trusted. His arms were crossed. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Emily continued. "He showed me messages, screenshots. Except they were fake. He took real texts I sent him and edited them. He literally built a whole story to make me look like a monster. Why? Because he wanted her. And the worst part? He almost succeeded." Emily was crying, confused, angry. She didn't know who to believe. So I did the only thing I could. I handed her my phone. "Take it. Check whatever you want. Every message, every app, every conversation." She hesitated, then took it. 10 minutes passed, then 20. Finally, she looked up at me with tears running down her face. "I'm so sorry. He lied." And that's when Mark snapped. He jumped up yelling that I manipulated her, that I always ruin everything, that he should have been with her from the beginning. I told him to leave. He slammed the door so hard the frame cracked. That was the last time I saw him. The days after Mark left felt like a slow exhale. Emily and I sat together in silence often, letting the weight of the betrayal settle between us. Sometimes we spoke. Sometimes we just held space for each other, and for the first time, the tension started to ease. I watched her carefully, noticing her small gestures, her sighs, the way she smiled when she thought no one was watching. We began to rebuild, not overnight, not perfectly, but piece by piece. Even something as simple as cooking dinner together, laughing at a shared memory, or walking through the park became a reminder that real connection is resilient. The betrayal had left scars, yes, but it also taught me lessons I would never forget. Friendship is not about loud words, flashy gestures, or constant attention. It is about trust, honesty, respect, and consistency. I reflected on my past, on Mark, and on the countless signs I had ignored. People like him see relationships as a game, a competition to win at any cost. They manipulate, they lie, they twist perceptions. And if you don't pay attention to actions, not words, you can be trapped in their web. Emily and I slowly rebuilt our lives together, stronger, more aware, and more grateful for each other. Every shared smile, every quiet conversation, every small gesture of care became proof that trust could be restored, even after betrayal. I wasn't the same Alex I was before. I had learned painfully but irrevocably how to recognize genuine friendship and how to protect it. And as we moved forward, I knew this: real connections survive storms, and anyone trying to destroy them will ultimately fail. Emily and I spent weeks repairing what he tried to destroy. She felt guilty. I felt stupid for not seeing who Mark truly was. Months later, I learned from mutual friends that he'd done this before, sabotaged people when he didn't get what he wanted. I just never thought he'd do it to me. Some people don't see friendship the way normal people do. To them, everything is a competition. If someone constantly needs attention, if they get jealous when you're happy, if they use jokes to hide real insults, if they keep crossing boundaries, they're not your friend. Pay attention to people's actions, not words. Because sometimes the person smiling next to you is the one holding the knife.